Well, as promised, Elon Musk delivered on the 2020 holiday update, 2020.48.25 or .26, depending on when you purchased your car. Was it what everyone was asking for? Well, I'm Frugal Tesla Guy, and we're going to take an in-depth look to make sure you're getting the most out of this update. Owning a Tesla can bring out the kid in almost anyone. Now, the previously released fart machine alone was not exactly one of my best moments.
I just downloaded the latest version of software for Tesla, version 48.12.1. And boy, it's got some pretty cool features.
But fun nonetheless. With the latest holiday release from Tesla, it has yet brought out the kid in many of us, including the part when you get that feeling that maybe your siblings got more than you did under the Christmas tree. Sure, you got a couple of new board games and some new clothes that gives you a new look, but it's not that awesome new boombox your brother just got. But it turns out you might be able to use some of that Christmas money you got from your relatives to get one yourself. More on that a little bit later. Now, since I have a 2018 Model 3, I received 2020.48.25, which does not have the new boombox feature. But my friend with the late 2020 Performance Model Y received 2020.48.26, which does include the boombox. So why him and not me? Well, since my Model 3 was built before September 2019, I don't have an external speaker, which is used to make a sound so pedestrians aren't caught off guard since there's no engine noise. Now, since I don't have an external speaker, I won't be able to take advantage of the new boombox feature. Boombox serves several different purposes, all of course, which are completely unnecessary, but a lot of fun nonetheless. Now, we start with the fact that you can use the external speaker to play any music from the car's media player. Simply put your car in park, go to the toy box, tap Boombox, then tap Play Current Media. Now, you can even control the media from your phone, and you can also control the volume. You also have the option to replace the regular horn to different sounds, such as a screaming goat, an old horn, La Cucaracha, just to name a few. To use this feature, go to the toy box, tap Boombox, and you'll see two toggles right underneath Play Current Media. Now, without anything toggled on, the horn will work as it normally would. Toggle on horn sound, and when you honk the horn, you will hear the normal horn first, then the selected sound. If you toggle on Replace Horn, then when you honk the horn, you will not hear the normal horn as usual, and just the selected sound.
Well, I never. Toss a coin to your witcher.
Now, the fun doesn't stop there. We've got a lot more to go, because the sound your car makes at low speeds in parking lots and residential areas can also be customized. Now, this can be controlled by going to Boombox and simply toggling on driving sound. The same goes for summon. Simply toggle on summon sound and you will hear the selected sound when you summon the car. But wait, there's more. You can add up to 5 of your own sounds by putting them on a USB drive with a folder named Boombox. Now once you plug the USB drive into the car, they will then show up on the menus of each feature. In this case, we tried R2-D2, and an idling V8 engine.
Sounds like a boat.
Pull the USB drive out and they disappear. One thing you need to make sure is that you use an MP3 format. Oh yeah, and we can't forget about emissions testing mode, because now you can greet your pedestrians with a fart noise of your choice. To use this feature, go to the toy box as usual and select emissions. From here, you will have several options to play fart noises from your external speaker. First, simply press the speaker icon on the right, toggle on Fart on Demand, and it will play the fart noise of your choice by pressing the left scroll wheel. Toggle on Fart on Turn Signal, and it will play a farting noise every time you use the turn signal. Now, if you're all like me and don't have the external speaker, there is some hope. Tesla owner Silicon Valley reached out to Elon Musk via Twitter, and he said he'll check with service to see if a speaker can be installed. Quite honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about this because I actually like the silence of the car without the speaker. But this new feature has me questioning how I really feel about it. In the end, we'll have to see if it's even possible, and if it is, how much will it cost? Is this an upgrade you think you'd pay for? Let me know in the comments section below. The new user interface, or UI, has been out for a while, but for those with FSD beta only. Now, when I went on a ride along with Tesla Raj to experience FSD beta, I did get a glimpse of it, but now I'm noticing a few more things that I didn't notice before. Let's start with the obvious. The new car animation is a lot bigger and has more detail, even down to the interior. Now, I have a black interior, but if you have white interior, that's something you'll see on your screen. And if you look closely, you'll even see the screen illuminated through the back window of the car. The doors open and close realistically on the screen, the windows open and close in real time, along with the charge port. The front wheels move to the left and to the right in real time, and the turn signals and brake lights will also animate as they always have. The frunk and trunk can also be opened, and for those with third-party auto frunk and trunks, I can confirm that they still open and close from the screen. The instrument cluster has also moved with park, reverse, neutral, and drive on the far left, along with the headlight and warning signals below that. The battery status is in the upper right, which can still be pressed to get to the battery menu. The cards at the bottom have been hidden and will reappear if you put the car in drive and don't have your seatbelt on. You can also swipe to the left or to the right for tire pressure and the odometer. The wiper controls can now be found just below that on the main menu bar on the bottom of the screen, with access to the rear and side cameras just to the left of that. Since we're on that topic, the bottom menu bar has changed with the aforementioned wiper and rear camera controls, pushing everything else to the right. The color of the bottom menu has changed from black to white. The battery is also changed from green to black. Now, it'll be interesting to see what that will mean for the yellow and red warnings for low battery. Everything on the top is the same. However, the Tesla logo has been removed, and now that information can be accessed by tapping the car icon and then software. And everything that was accessed via the Tesla logo is now at your fingertips. Another noticeable change is the instrument and visualization panel on the left. It's bigger, making the maps a little smaller. As a result, the media player has also been sized down, creating a little bit more of a cramped feel when using the menu features. Now, for those that are not happy with the smaller maps and media player, Elon Musk has mentioned that in a future update, you will be able to adjust the size of each panel. So as expected, this new UI seems to be a work in progress. Tesla has made it easier to go through the new and previous software update release notes. The left side lists the update version and all of the improvements below those versions. You can tap on any of the items on the left and a description of that improvement or new feature will appear on the right side of the screen. You can also scroll through everything on the right side, and that particular improvement will be highlighted on the left. Polytopia, Solitaire, and Cat Quest have been added to the list of new games now available with this update. Polytopia has an online feature allowing you to create a profile name, which allows friends to find you when you're playing multiplayer games. Now, according to the release notes, it doesn't look like Polytopia is an online multiplayer game, but creating a profile name, others will see you on the leaderboard. It is anticipated that multiplayer games will be an added feature in the future. Although it's not mentioned anywhere, I can only assume if you're not connected via Wi-Fi, then you will need premium connectivity in order to access the online features. It also turns out that you can now play, or rather your passenger can play, while driving. You can also minimize the screen if you need to see the navigation screen. Now, as mentioned earlier, the driving visualization screen is larger, which will allow you to see more of the road surroundings. Now, we covered many of the new features earlier, but one thing to note is when the navigation turn list on the maps is covered, the next turn will now appear above the visualization. Now, I really like this and would like to see it added as a feature that can be toggled on and off on future updates. Now, a couple of other things that I didn't mention earlier is the regen level is now at the very top. The speedometer is at the far left, closer to your field of vision, with the autopilot set speed between the speed limit and the autopilot availability. Also, the plus and minus icons to adjust the set speed up and down have been removed. So now the only way to adjust autopilot speed is to use the right scroll wheel. Now for me, I don't mind this at all because I only use the right scroll wheel to adjust the speed. So as far as I'm concerned, no loss here, but we may see it return in a future update. Now, one thing I find interesting is the image in the release notes still has a green battery as opposed to the black battery I mentioned earlier. Maybe an indicator of a future update, I'm not sure, but I would like to see the return of the green battery. As written in the release notes, scheduled departure can now precondition your battery and cabin even when your car is unplugged. Now, what was not mentioned is the status of your battery. Now, as it stands right now, you can't use features like Sentry Mode and cooling or heating your cabin if the battery is 20% or less. Now, I'm sure the same applies with scheduled departure when not plugged in. The release notes then go on to say, to account for different utility rate plans, you can now set the time when your off-peak rates end to save on charging costs. Now this is long overdue because this was offered on my 2013 Nissan Leaf and is also a feature offered on the Stats app. So it's nice to finally see it in the car's software. To get to this feature, tap on the battery icon and at the bottom you will see Schedule Departure. Tap on the icon below it and you'll be able to schedule the time you plan to leave, and the battery will be preconditioned and the inside of the car will be nice and cozy when you get in. You can also set it to off-peak charging by tapping Settings. This will only work if you don't have a timer set for a scheduled charge start. Now right below that, you will see in small print, Switch to Scheduled Charging. Now you may need to try more than once since it is so small, but once you activate it, the scheduled departure will be replaced with controls for scheduled charge start. To set the time, switch the toggle on and set the time, which will be in 15-minute increments by pressing the plus and minus icons. Now on a side note, this will only work if off-peak charging is toggled off in the scheduled departure. Otherwise, everything will be grayed out and you won't be able to set a time. When searching for superchargers on the map, now instead of seeing a gauge below the icon of how many superchargers are available, you will simply see a number of available stalls at that particular supercharger on the icon itself. Everything else is the same, including the available information about each charger by tapping the icon. Now, one problem that I am noticing is that you now have to turn off other charging stations because they cover up the number of chargers available. In the old version, even though they covered the supercharger icon, you could still see the number of available stalls from the gauge below it. Now, to turn off the other charging locations, go to the charger menu and tap the single and double lightning bolt icons so they are grayed out. The 3 lightning bolts are the superchargers and should be black. However, even though the single and double lightning bolts are grayed out, you will also see other chargers on the map as a gray circle with a lightning bolt and the number of chargers. If you tap on it, it will zoom into that area, but because the single and double lightning bolts are turned off, you won't see the chargers. So you'll need to turn them back on if you want to see where those chargers are. Since this is a holiday release, it only seems fitting they would also improve upon Santa mode. It now appears as a red Model 3 that has been transformed into Santa's sleigh. Snowflakes are still falling, and you can also see the reindeer pulling the sleigh. The bells flash accordingly on the left or right reindeer when you use a turn signal. And on the visualization, they replaced the cars with reindeer, making it look more like a Christmas winter wonderland. Now, many of the other visualizations are removed, like traffic lights, cones, and garbage bins, but it's all in the name of fun. This is an update that many people have been anticipating, and there have been rumors about things that we were going to see and not going to see. Now, the visualizations is something that a lot of people have been kind of 50-50 on. Some people love it, some people hate it. And one of the arguments is the fact that if you don't have FSD, you don't need all that added real estate on the visualization. And that may be the case. But I think what Tesla is doing here is just getting us prepared. And this is a sign of things to come in the future. That indeed, hopefully, we will see a much wider release of full self-driving beta. But again, for those of you who don't have full self-driving, it does sound like that in future updates, you will be able to adjust the size on the left and right side. And most likely, you'll even be able to go back to at least the sizing of what you are used to. So that's kind of really been one of the biggest issues. Now, another thing to take note is the fact that this is actually not the big software release. You'll notice that this is version 10.2, not 11, which 11 would be that big major change. So we probably have that coming down the line later on in maybe the next few months or just sometime later this year. We'll just have to wait and see. But in the end, overall, I personally am pretty happy with it. I do have full self-driving, so I'm not necessarily concerned about the added real estate because as it stands right now, it's a lot of wasted space, but that's because I don't have full self-driving beta. Once I do have full self-driving beta, that added real estate on the left side is going to make a difference when it comes to using that software. So I'd love to know what you think. Are you happy with the end result? Are you thinking about, if you don't have the external speaker, about maybe having one installed, if that's something that will be available in the future? I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below. And as usual, thank you all so much for watching. And you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and stay positively charged.